Hey everybody, this is Bear Pigman doing Ether Vapor Remastered for Slowbeeb's shooting gallery thread. I picked this game up for $2, getting some stuff on Steam. So, this game, it's an interesting shooter. You see here, checking the options, hitbox display is normally turned off. I ended up turning it on. I'll turn it off again quickly, but I'll show you what it does in a bit. Kind of like Radiant Silvergun in that you have 3 firing buttons, a Gatling gun, a winder, a lock-on. No slow button, no bomb. But I'll show you what each of the shots do. But it's your standard shooter. It does some pretty cool things with perspective, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So, as you see, I turned the hitbox detection off. See what it does in a little bit. But so you start off, you have your normal Gatling gun. It follows kind of Silver Surfer rules where you have to keep tapping the button to fire. It doesn't just auto fire. Then you have the side shots, and if you hold, you do a lock-on. Lock-on is the only one that lets you kind of fire continuously. If you charge, each shot does a different thing for charge. The Sidewinder one does a shield, which is really the only useful thing that you need. So you may be wondering why we don't have hitboxes on. Well, as you'll see in a second, I shot a little bit of footage with the hitboxes on. It doesn't show your ship hitboxes, it shows every hitbox for every bullet, everything. For some bosses here, it's just a gigantic hitbox which just looks stupid. Or in some bosses, like later on, it just completely fills up the entire screen with them. So it just looks ridiculous. So I ended up turning it off for the rest of the video after recording for a little bit. So, yeah. With this, starts off your normal basic shooter. It's a little hard to tell, like, it's hard to kind of dodge bullets. You kind of rely on that shield. There's no, like, penalty for using it. It just takes a little while to charge up, especially if you're switching from one bullet type to another. Nearly every enemy in the game has a homing attack of some kind, homing missiles. They shoot really fast, really annoying. The spread shot that you got there is weak, but it covers a ton of space. Like you see there, they just, like, right off the bat just start firing bullets left and right, homing right at you. You pretty much have to shield here or else you get hit. It also doesn't help that, like, the color of the bullets is, like, exactly the color of explosions. But here's the cool thing about this game. It like, has almost, like, on-rail sections like this, like, res sections. The stage 2 boss in particular really messes with perspective a lot, and I think that's really cool. This is kind of just like a bonus stage. You can't get hit, even though they're firing about 100 missiles at you every second. None of them hit you. You just gotta try and blow up as many as you can, rack up points. I still think it's pretty cool. Like, I played this for about 2 minutes, got to the scene, and made me go from, well, this is an alright shooter, to, okay, I gotta record this. This is interesting stuff. So, time for the first boss, and the first stage so far has been a little more challenging than usual, so I figured the first boss would be, like, really difficult. Aside from the fact that, he fires those bullets that match in perfectly with the background, those stupid little blue shots. You can see his health in the upper right corner. I figured that was just, like, the first 4. No, that's it. He's done. First stage boss destroyed in about 20 seconds. Absolutely ridiculous. And of course they have the stupid story built into it. You're an anime guy and another anime guy or girl. I have no idea. I skip most of the cutscenes, but I gotta be honest, I kind of like our protagonist. You'll see in stage 2 and 3, he doesn't have time to put up with anyone's bullshit, so he just kind of tells all the bosses to just, like, shut up. So, yeah. So here's stage 2, and as you see, it's already kind of like, before you were kind of doing like a Toho Exceed style shooter, now you're kind of doing like a Gradius, went from vertical to horizontal. And again, the only real annoying thing is, like, there's so many explosions that it's really hard to track any shots that are coming your way. But this is the stage when, like, lock-on starts becoming really important, because it's really hard to tell, but most of those enemies are in the background, and So if you're firing like your Gatling gun, you can't hit like that mini boss right there. You can hit him now because he's on the same plane as you, but he'll like fly into the background, or a ship will fly from the foreground into the background, and the only way you can hit them is by using the lock-on. Or if an enemy's behind you, you can only hit them by using lock-on. Lock-on is weak, but it'll actually like track an enemy even if they go out of your range. The lock-on doesn't have any charge attack, by the way. It's just it'll just like lock on stuff in the background. The Gatling gun charge attack, by the way, completely worthless. I almost never use it. It does a little more damage, but you're honestly better just mashing the attack button, and the Gatling gun just does a ton of damage. So this guy's kind of annoying. Those bullets like track you a little bit, but being that so like their shots look like your shots, so it's really hard to track. Oh, and if you don't fire them, by the way, you can lose life because it's just like a wall. You basically go into Star Fox mode for half a second, and if you crash into any debris, it takes the life away from you. Now this boss is ridiculous because he just kind of like charges in and yells at you about being basically tries to talk it out with you. And what? He's in a mecha with a freaking railgun, a rail cannon, and the stupidest like eye piece I've ever seen. So I kind of like the main character at this point because he basically just tells the guy to shut up because he just wants to go and destroy things. So I can kind of relate to that, kind of like that, but the annoying thing about this boss is, you can't really see because I turned off the hitbox part now, but every single part of him is a hitbox. If you run into his cannon, the cannon will destroy you. Aside from that, he's not that tough. That first shot's a little tough to avoid. But like he's not that bad. You just really with this game, it's all about knowing when to shield because so many things you actually cannot dodge. You really need to use the shield, and they don't give you any penalty for using it. So, and the first time I played this part took me a really long time to figure out because I wasn't really doing much lock-on stuff. So the only way to actually damage him at this point is to use the lock shot and just take him out from the distance. I was like trying to shoot down missiles. I thought you had to shoot the beam. And by the way, if you have the hitbox part on at that point, it's impossible. You can't see the screen. Every single one of those bullets coming towards you has a thick red line around it. It's impossible. It's so stupid. So yeah, you break down the ship slowly, and then he just, I don't know, can start running in midair. No real reason. And then he'll just charge at you. And it's not a tough game. What it does is it requires a lot of like memorization. You kind of gotta know where to be in order to. You have to know where to be and where to shield, and you can get out of nearly any situation in this game. Oh, and this is ridiculous. You think he's dead, and no, I can't tell you how many times I died to that first like charge, and especially like he fires the homing lasers, and because they come from the background to the foreground, it's next to impossible to know where they are and to make sure you don't run into them. So it's luck. It's really all luck at this point. Like, I read a lot of reviews for this game, and a lot of it like compared it to Ultimadius, that stupid anime girl version of Gradius that was slow ship, slow bullet shot. It's not as bad as that game, but it's not great. I gotta be honest though, I really love the background and foreground stuff, and the res section, and the constantly switching perspective angles. I think that's really interesting. I would like to see more shooters do stuff like that, and I wouldn't pay $15 for this game, but you know, I got it on Steam for $2, so well worth the $2 while, you know, picking up other stuff. And again, much like the last one, when you're in the city, most of the ships are actually underneath you, and the Gatling gun and Sidewinder don't do any damage. And those bullets are next to impossible to see. So I can't tell you how many times I died around these guys. And then eventually you get these guys that kinda, they can be a little annoying. It's the next part. They try and circle you in, but it totally doesn't work because you still have a ton of room to go around and do stuff. So, you know, who cares? They also have in this game, if you shoot down a missile, like 4 or 5 of those little pink things will come up and fire at you too. So they're annoying as hell. I've died a lot to those. Now, I got trapped in this maze for a while. You're not actually supposed to be shooting. You can shoot the those things, but you'll just be stuck in the maze forever. You actually have to shoot down the white ship in the background using the lock shot. Seems to be kind of a ongoing thing with this game. Use the lock shot to shoot things in the foreground. Because first time I tried playing this and streaming it, I waited like 5 minutes going through this maze, like, is this supposed to end or not? Same with that boss for stage 2, where he just hid in the foreground. Then I thought I had to shoot down the his beam. So we're coming up on the first half of the stage 3 boss, and by the way, I really only wanted to give this game a quick glance over because I thought it was interesting. I thought the perspective stuff was pretty cool. I thought the thread would like it. I didn't complete this game or come close. I got to the end of stage 3 out of 7. Because it's the kind of game where, as you see at the end, the more times you beat it, the more credits you unlock. So you're not supposed to be able to beat the game on the first try. And I just don't have the time to unlock every single thing for this game. It's not good enough to warrant that. So I just did like a 15-minute just show off. This boss here, like, you have to be shielding all the time, and that's the thing. It's really memorization. Like, you see those red tracker shots? Every boss after this point uses them, and they are just impossible to dodge. Even if you're shielding, the time it takes you to get that other shield, you'll die. So yeah, just wanted to give you guys a little kind of. I had never heard this game until I saw it on Steam, and I think it was interesting enough to at least take a look at. So, and then it gets into, you know, again, stupid anime. You're on the Claudia, whatever the fuck, Chlamydia side. You're on the Lilat side. There's nothing, no no prologue, no nothing like that. I don't care about any of these things. I just want to shoot a couple of things, and you know, it's at least they give you a skip button, but instead of just saying start or skip, you know, this to skip, it's skip button 7, and I spent so much time trying to figure out where the hell the skip button was, but you know, I decided to leave the cutscenes in. Oh look, I got my anime boss to take you on. Ooh, and my anime friend is coming to bring in the cavalry, and just who the hell cares? It's, you know, at least they're ships. I kind of like that, not little girls, so props to that. But you know, I found it an interesting game. I'll probably come back and finish it someday, but you know, I thought it was interesting enough to give it a shot and show you guys it, but I definitely don't think it was interesting enough to if it weren't $2, I wouldn't recommend anyone paying full price for it. Oh, and when you die, your ship turns orange and explodes. And then if you continued enough, you'll get more credits and more ships unlocked. which I think I do here, but in order to keep progressing, you have to start from the beginning and keep going. Start from the beginning, keep going. Start from the beginning, keep going. Really annoying. But, I think it was interesting. So, thanks a lot for listening, and have a great day. This has been Ether Vapor.